As I lingered at the rear of the ballroom, the bride lifted her champagne glass and proclaimed, "I rescued him from that shattered soul." Laughter filled the air. To their surprise, laughter filled the air. Glasses gently clinked together. Others nodded, their smiles blossoming as if she had just shared the most delightful secret of the evening. A warm blush crept across my cheeks, not from embarrassment, but from the fervent stir of every hidden memory surfacing with an undeniable intensity. Though my stomach churned, I remained poised in my seat. I held back my tears. I remained unperturbed. Amidst the shimmer and clamor, a graceful waitress emerged. She glided gracefully, as if traversing a gentle stream. As she glided to the heart of the room, near the head table, she removed her cap with a graceful motion, cradling it in her hand, and cast a steady gaze upon the bride. "I am his daughter," she declared, "and I have something to share." The laughter faded away. The bride's visage fell, stripped of all hue.
Her lips parted, yet silence lingé in the air. Only the hush of stillness. Pristine, crystalline stillness.
And that was the moment when everything transformed. Have you ever experienced that instinctive sensation that perhaps you ought not to be in a particular place? That gentle tug in your heart that whispers, "Look back"? There I was, nestled in my car outside the Ridgewood Grand Hotel, delicately holding an ivory invitation adorned with gold trim, my hands trembling with anticipation. A month ago, it arrived in the mail. There is no return address provided. My name, Vivian Lane, elegantly inscribed in a calligraphy style that felt unfamiliar yet enchanting. I nearly discarded it. Who would dare to send a wedding invitation from an ex-fiancée to the woman he once cherished? Initially, I believed it to be an error. In that moment, I pondered whether it might be an unusual gesture of peace, or perhaps a subtle trial of sorts.
Yet, the reality?
In the depths of my heart, I was aware of its essence. A heartfelt announcement.
Agente le caution.
A poignant reminder that Damien Reese, the man with whom I had woven 6 years of shared dreams, was now deliberately erasing my presence from his life. It had been 3 long years since our paths last crossed. Not since he departed our apartment under the cloak of night, following the heartache of our lost child. He did not cast a single glance behind him. He just expressed that he could no longer endure a life steeped in sorrow. Filled a duffel bag, penned a note, and disappeared into the night. Yet, it was not solely my heart he departed from. It was she as well. Lila, his cherished daughter, born of a woman who departed long before our paths intertwined. At the tender age of 5, she graced our lives with her presence. From the moment she took my hand and whispered "Mommy," I transformed from merely someone who cherished Damien into something far more profound. I transformed into a soul that was wholly hers. And as Damien departed, Sophie remained behind. It was no mere coincidence. By design. For months, I existed as a mere shell. Waking up felt like wading through a heavy mist, each movement a gentle struggle against the weight of the world. The stillness that enveloped our home was simply intolerable. Each photograph, each melody, every nook of the apartment whispered of a family that scarcely had the opportunity to flourish. There were moments when the thought of lifting the phone felt insurmountable. I ceased to respond to my friends. I ceased to gaze into mirrors. Yet, I still prepared Lila's lunch with care. I continued to weave her hair into a delicate braid. Even as I assisted her in preparing for her spelling tests, I endeavored to conceal the tears that threatened to spill from my eyes. One evening, I found myself seated on the cool bathroom floor, trembling after yet another call from a debt collector, when Sophie gently rapped on the door. At the tender age of 10, she stood just shy of my ribs. With a gentle push, she opened the door, gracefully took a seat beside me, and offered me a peanut butter sandwich. "You forgot to eat," she gently remarked. In that instant, I understood that solitude was but an illusion. And if she remained steadfast in her belief in me, how could I possibly relinquish my own hope? After 2 years of therapy, a series of odd jobs and countless nights spent immersed in self-help literature, I finally began to rediscover the essence of my humanity. Yet, gradually, I discovered fragments of my being that had slipped from my memory. I have once more embarked on the journey of design. Websites, logos, and any freelance opportunities that may arise. I have relocated us to a cozier abode, nestled nearer to Lila's school. I found myself laughing once more, with genuine hearty laughter that resonated deeply. The kind that resonates deep within your very core. They were a rarity, yet they arrived. Upon the arrival of the invitation, I allowed it to rest upon the kitchen table for several days, untouched. Sophie was the one who gracefully took it in hand and read it aloud. Her voice remained steady.
You must go, she whispered softly.
Not for him, but for you, my dear.
For what purpose, my dear?
I inquired, weariness evident in my voice. Must I bear witness to him embarking on a new journey with someone more enchanting? More affluent? No, she replied softly. Thus, he perceives the essence of what has slipped away from him. I gazed upon her. At 16, she possesses a wisdom that surpasses anything I had known at her age. In that moment, it dawned on me that her words transcended mere mention of Gavin. She spoke of me. I continued to regard myself as the shattered reflection he had abandoned. Yet, she beheld a presence of greater strength. And so, I found myself saying yes. Uncle Joe, who graciously stepped in to guide me after my mother's passing, kindly offered to drive us. He had never been fond of Gavin, for he believed that his smile appeared too effortlessly and his gaze remained unnaturally serene. I invited him to join me in the back row. I longed to remain unseen, merely a whisper in the shadows. I was blissfully unaware of the enchanting journey that awaited me. I anticipated a touch of awkwardness, perhaps a few hushed whispers lingering in the air. What I never anticipated was a carefully orchestrated scene, a delicate humiliation adorned with white lace and shimmering gold chandeliers. However, I shall arrive at that point soon enough. For in that moment, before the microphone was lifted, before the glasses clinked and the fabrications flowed like sparkling champagne, I found myself in that grand ballroom, gazing at the man I once adored, and came to a realization that had remained unspoken until that very day. He did not shatter my spirit. He left the fragments behind. And I reassembled my essence, finding wholeness in his absence. The wedding unfolded like a carefully crafted dream, a testament to the desire for an idyllic existence. Crystal chandeliers dangled gracefully from the vaulted ceiling, resembling delicate glass teardrops. The aisle was adorned with exquisite imported white orchids. Each napkin bore a delicate monogram. Even the string quartet appeared to perform with an air of self-assured elegance. I lingered in the doorway, allowing the moment to stretch, as I endeavored to steady my breath. Sophie had gracefully slipped away into the kitchen, ready to begin her shift. She accepted a position with the catering service, insisting it was purely coincidental and had nothing to do with her desire to watch over me. Yet, I was aware of the truth that lay beneath. She was not merely present to offer canapés. She stood by my side, a guardian in her own gentle yet resolute manner, as she always did. I caught a glimpse of Uncle Henry nestled comfortably near the back, already settled in his seat. He offered me a brief nod that conveyed, "You're managing beautifully, even amidst the turmoil." I gracefully settled into the seat beside him, my hands delicately folded in my lap, making a conscious effort to avert my gaze from the altar, yet my eyes were drawn to him irresistibly.
Gavin, my dear.
He appeared nearly unchanged, a reflection of timelessness. With broad shoulders and that infuriatingly charming half-smile, he exudes an undeniable allure. He extended his hand in greeting, a glass of whiskey cradled delicately in the other. Were you unfamiliar with him, you might perceive him as warm and magnetic. Yet, I was aware of the serene distance that lingered behind that smile. He wielded his charm as if it were a shield, captivating all in his path. I was acutely aware of his appearance on that fateful night when he departed. Eyes that barely skim the surface and a hush that lingers, with not a single look cast behind. And then, she appeared before me. Scarlet veil, draped in pure white silk, her radiant blonde hair cascading like sunlight, laughter that danced on the air, vibrant yet tinged with a hint of sharpness. She leaned into Damien as if she were gracing the cover of a glamorous magazine. Each gesture appeared meticulously crafted to whisper, "Behold my treasures. Behold the essence of what she could never attain." They pledged their love beneath a magnificent floral arch. Gavin's voice remained steady and unwavering. I lowered my gaze, gently biting the inside of my cheek to remain anchored in the moment. The audience erupted in applause as their lips met in a tender kiss. Scarlett turned toward the guests, her smile radiant as if she had just claimed a cherished prize. And so, the reception commenced. Glasses chimed softly. Waiters glided gracefully through the crowd, a seamless dance of elegance. Amidst the laughter, whispers danced through the air as they admired one another's exquisite dresses. I sat in serene stillness, gently sipping water, urging myself to remain in the moment. Sophie glided past, a tray of bruschetta delicately balanced in her hands. Our gazes intertwined for a fleeting moment.
Chica t'appelait Are you feeling all right? Uncle Henri murmure softly.
Even now, I whispered. And so the toasts began. Esteemed best man.
Beloved maid of honor. À dire cousin. All the familiar tales.
Damien was truly a remarkable individual. How Scarlett had transformed him into a more refined version of himself. I nearly succeeded in silencing it all, until her voice graced my ears. I wished to express a thought. There stood Scarlett at the head table, gracefully cradling a flute of champagne. Her eyes shimmered in the glow, yet a certain intensity lingered within their depths. She averted her gaze from Gavin. She gazed upon the throng of people. And then gazed upon me. When I first encountered Gavin, he exuded a certain goodness that was hard to overlook. Yet, he bore a wound within. Imperfect. By one who was unaware of how to cherish him properly. A woman, so deeply fractured, that she could not perceive the fortune that surrounded her.
He stood still, cocked in a moment of stillness.
My skin tingled with a delightful warmth and a refreshing chill all at once. The words enveloped me, resonating in the stillness like a gentle caress in a hushed chamber. She nearly shattered him, Scarlett went on, her laughter so delicate it sent a flutter through my stomach. Yet, I rescued him. I restored his spirit. And today, he has at last arrived at the place that feels like home. Joyful laughter ensued.
Genuine loctaire.
Guests raised their glasses in celebration. The soft sound of glasses gently clinking echoed through the air. A handful even offered their applause. Uncle Henry whispered softly to himself.
He found misel futerlistil.
Every fiber of my being urged me to rise. To express oneself. To let out a cry, even. Yet, I did not. I found myself captivated by her gaze. This woman, unaware of the tender nights I spent holding Gavin's hand as he wept over the heartache of losing custody of Lila. There is nothing quite like the mornings I rose with the dawn, pen in hand, crafting cover letters for his pursuit of new opportunities. There is nothing to be said about the ultrasound photo I have tucked away in the depths of my drawer. The one that forever eluded my grasp. She chose not to rescue him. She had just arrived, moments after he had already departed. It was then that my gaze was drawn to a subtle stir near the kitchen. One of the waitresses had paused in her graceful stride. Her gaze was fixed upon Serena, a tension in her jaw, her fists tightly bound. It was Lila, a name that danced upon the lips like a sweet melody. With a graceful yet trembling resolve, she advanced, gliding past the tables and the soft symphony of clinking glasses, her path unwavering as she approached the microphone.
I beheld the gentle rise and fall of her shoulder.
Then she removed her server's cap, cradling it delicately in her hand, and proclaimed in a voice more resonant than I had ever known from her, I am his daughter. I have a sentiment to share. The room was enveloped in a profound silence. In that fleeting moment, I realized the night held endless possibilities yet to unfold. I am his daughter. I have a sentiment to share. Lila's voice glided through the room, as delicate as glass upon polished marble. Every champagne flute lingered in a delicate pause, suspended in midair. Every conversation came to a graceful halt, suspended in the air like a delicate whisper. The silence enveloped us, dense and bewildering, charged with an unspoken energy. Individuals gracefully shifted in their seats.
Softly, some murmure.
Serena's smile danced delicately, her hand lingering gracefully around her glass. Damien turned gracefully in his seat, his gaze lingering on the girl clad in a black apron and crisp white button-up shirt, who had just unveiled the delicate web of deceptions he had woven throughout the evening. Sophie lingered gracefully beside the dance floor, her cap held delicately in her hands. Her curls cascaded gracefully from the confines of her bun. Her chest rose and fell, as though each breath were drawn from a profound depth within her soul. She is not merely the subject of your mockery, she declared, her voice trembling with emotion. She is the enchanting woman who nurtured my very being. Scarlett blinked, a veil of confusion clouding her gaze. Excuse me, could you please clarify? I am Gavin's daughter, Sophie reiterated. From a time before he met you, before he vanished from our lives, before he chose to act as though we were mere shadows. The atmosphere shifted.
Aunt Fulof soulignait sharply.
I observed one of Gavin's cousins gently lower his phone, as if caught in a moment of uncertainty about whether to continue filming. Sophie stepped gracefully forward. She spoke from the heart, unbound by the confines of a written speech. This was unforeseen, yet it bore a profound truth, heavy with significance. He departed when I was but 11 years old. It is not solely my mother. He has departed from my life. I did not receive a call. I did not compose anything. Simply vanished. And you wish to label her as broken? Her gaze drifted to Serena, who appeared suddenly uncertain, as if the ground beneath her had shifted. I beheld her toil through 2 jobs, ensuring that I had sustenance to nourish my body.
I behälter the fall softly, à qui symphonie méante tout escape maillir.
And when others inquired about my father's whereabouts, I would reply that he was away on business, for I wished to shield them from the truth that he had chosen not to love us. Someone at the forefront delicately concealed their lips. A waiter paused, his tray suspended gracefully in the air. At long last, Damien found his voice. His voice was soft, laced with a gentle caution. "Lila, she is not present here." "Ah, so my name has finally graced your thoughts," Sophie remarked, drawing nearer with a graceful poise. "When I sent you birthday cards, they returned to me, untouched and unopened. When I reached out to express how much I missed you, I received no response. You chose not to block me, instead, you simply turned away. And now you find yourself here, allowing this woman to speak of my mother as if she were nothing of worth?" In that moment he turned his gaze towards me, and for the very first time, a glimpse of vulnerability graced his features. I felt no sorrow. I felt no desire for revenge. A sense of clarity enveloped me. It was not I who ought to feel any shame. "She did not shatter you," Sophie continued, her voice trembling yet ascending with grace. "You shattered your own essence, and in your despair, you sought to conceal us as if we were mere shadows, unworthy of acknowledgement." Scarlett cast her gaze about, her eyes searching for solace, yet discovering none in her surroundings. She glanced back at Gavin. Could this possibly be true? He remained silent. He gazed at his daughter as if a stranger had entered, cloaked in the essence of his final hope. Sophie glided gracefully in my direction. With each step she took, my heart resonated like a thunderclap, echoing her presence within me. She gently took my hand in hers. I stood, my fingers entwined with hers, and in that delicate touch, a long silent part of me began to awaken. Not anger. Not a trace of bitterness. Strength. "She arrived not to engage in conflict," Sophie remarked, glancing back at the gathering. "She arrived here at my gentle suggestion. For I wished for her to realize that there is no longer a need for her to conceal herself." Then she gazed directly into Serena's eyes. Serene. Unwavering. "She effortlessly claims her place in any room, and no one has the right to alter our narrative for their own benefit." The room lingered in a hushed anticipation. Serena's hand quivered delicately around her champagne flute.
Texte, dit si utterly bewildering, she whispered softly.
"She is simply attempting to sabotage my wedding." Sophie lifted her chin gracefully. "You shattered its beauty the moment you constructed it upon deceit." Then she turned and gracefully walked away, drawing me along in her enchanting wake. The crowd gracefully parted. Whispers ascended gracefully, akin to delicate tendrils of smoke. We were unhindered by any obstacles. No soul had the courage. From behind, I caught the gentle sound of Gavin's voice, calling out, "Lila." Yet she remained unturned. The air outside was refreshingly cool and serenely still. Sophie released a deep breath, as if she had been concealing a profound truth for an eternity. She gazed up at me, her eyes glistening with tears yet adorned with a gentle smile. "I would never allow her to bring you shame," she declared. "Not after all that has transpired." "You needn't have done that," I murmured softly. "Indeed," she replied. "I certainly did. You have rescued me from the depths of despair." The moment had come for me to repay the kindness bestowed upon me. In that fleeting moment, I came to understand that the most profound tales of love are not solely defined by romance. Some are crafted in quietude, in restoration, in the art of enduring. Some are born in the instant a child chooses to shield the one who has always been their steadfast guardian. We had scarcely traversed half the length of the hallway when a voice, laced with urgency and distress, echoed from behind us. "Hold on." It was none other than Serena. She had gracefully followed us out of the ballroom, her dress trailing behind her like a delicate veil of pride. Her flawless curls danced with grace as she quickened her pace. Yet, she no longer appeared flawless. Her mascara had started to blur delicately. Her hands trembled delicately. In that moment, she appeared truly tangible, as if the night had finally unveiled her essence. And filled with trepidation. Sophie was the first to turn around. I remained motionless, uncertain of what words this enchanting woman could utter that would hold significance in this moment. "You simply cannot do that," Scarlett retorted with a sharp edge. "It is simply unacceptable to intrude upon our wedding and bring us such embarrassment." "Shall we be together?" Sophie remarked, her eyebrows arching gracefully.
He spoke only the truth, nothing more.
It would have been more graceful to address it in private. "No," I replied, taking a graceful step forward. "It would have been more graceful to address it in a private manner." Yet there you were, amidst a gathering of unfamiliar faces, attempting to cast me in the role of the villain. Scarlett fluttered her lashes in surprise. Her eyes flitted between us, searching for a lost anchor in the delicate dance of our connection. "I was unaware that he had a daughter. I was unaware that he—" "Have you inquired?" Sophie gracefully interjected. "Or did you merely embrace the tale that bestowed upon you a sense of superiority?"
Scarlett partait de leurs lips.
Nothing emerged. Then Damien emerged from the shadows, his jacket casually unbuttoned, the tie draping elegantly askew. His expression had transformed in that moment. "It is not cold. Not yet arranged. Simply, laid bare."
Lila, et murmure softly this time.
"It was never my intention for things to unfold this way." She turned to him with a graceful slowness. "Which section, my dear?"
My arrival into this world? Are you truly leaving me behind?
"Or observing another nurture me while you disappeared into the shadows?" He recoiled slightly. "I believed I was shielding you," he murmured softly. "Did you truly believe that vanishing would shield you?" He gazed upon me then. It was the first moment our eyes met directly since our arrival. "I was shattered, Amara," he confessed. "Indeed, I was aware." "I too," responded softly. "Yet, I chose to remain." And there it stood, a vision of beauty. The words that transformed the atmosphere surrounding us. For regardless of the years that slipped by, and despite the countless attempts to reshape his thoughts, he understood the truth that lingered within him. He dashed away. "I chose to remain. I cannot undo what has been done," he murmured softly. "Indeed, I must decline. It is not possible."
Lila's voice gently pierced the stillness once more. "Do you recall what you whispered to myself?"
"That you had departed from this world. Perhaps something unforeseen occurred, which is why you were unable to join us."
For the sake of truth.
"That you existed yet seemed indifferent. It was more unfortunate."
Damien partait these lips, only to let them fall silent once more.
He cast his gaze downward, his eyes tracing the patterns of the floor beneath him. At his feet, she found her solace. Along the path of decisions he wished to leave behind. And then, an unexpected event unfolded before me. Sophie gracefully stepped forward. She remained silent.
She chose not to run.
She gazed into his eyes and softly uttered, "I forgive you." He gazed upward, taken aback. "It is not meant for you," she softly declared.
For Mayat.
"The weight of your absence has become a weary burden to bear. I have reached my conclusion." He swallowed deeply, nodding gently, his eyes shimmering with emotion. "Your essence is truly remarkable. Surely, you are aware of that." Her smile was gentle, tinged with a hint of melancholy. "I am aware. It was she who shaped me into this being." She directed her gaze towards me, and in that instant, that delicate gesture spoke volumes, resonating deeper than any grand proclamation. It was the unvarnished truth, revealed in its purest form, devoid of embellishments, complaints, or insincere grins. A daughter, in a moment of quiet resolve, selects her mother before the man who had abandoned them both. Scarlett took a step back, her arms gracefully folded across her chest.
"What shall we do next?"
"Do you simply turn and leave, feigning innocence as the night lies in ruins?" Sophie gracefully tilted her head.
"You shattered it the instant you sought to construct it upon the sea."
And I remarked, "If you sought a flawless tale, you ought to have chosen someone devoid of secrets." We strolled by them, stepping into the embrace of the night. The sky stretched vast and profound above us. Clouds unfurled gracefully, resembling delicate strands of spun cotton. The gentle drizzle began to fall, yet it mattered not to any of us. The tempest we had just endured transcended mere meteorological terms. Uncle Henry stood by the car, a figure of patience and anticipation. He cast a lingering glance at Gavin, who remained poised in the entryway, and nodded with a deliberate grace. It seems that could be described as a moment of exquisite finality. Lila's laughter danced through the air, and I found myself swept away in her joy. It was not bitter at all. It flowed effortlessly. It was indeed genuine. In that moment, I felt as if I were floating on air. Not due to any resolution, nor because Damien had come to grasp the depth of his loss, but rather because I had discovered the essence of my own being. And Sophie was fully aware of her essence. And now, so did all the others. As dawn broke, the headlines began to weave their way through the air. Not in the tabloids or newspapers, but rather in the subtle dance of how these matters unfold now. Whispered moments captured on TikTok. Anonymous posting of grainy wedding footage. Brief clips entitled, "Waitress gracefully counters bride's insult with a remarkable speech." I chose not to watch them. It was unnecessary for me to do so. I had experienced it fully. Messages from others graced my presence. Friends whose voices had long been silenced in the corridors of time. Some expressed their regrets for drifting apart when circumstances took a turn for the worse. Others remarked on your remarkable courage. Yet, amusingly, I found no trace of courage within me. Not quite, my dear. Neither in the limelight, nor when Scarlett cast her jibe, nor even when Sophie rose to unveil the truth. I felt as though I had finally embraced my presence, no longer seeking to fade away. Damien never reached out again. There was no phone call, no heartfelt apology, no final attempt to articulate his feelings. It seemed he understood that all words had been exhausted, leaving no further explanations to be offered. In the quietude that lingered after his departure, his tale unfolded like a delicate whisper. And thus, we had completed our reading of it. For a fleeting week or two, whispers of Serena's name danced through the gossip circles, revealing that she had unwittingly become the centerpiece of her own soiree's jest. I was informed by a source at the venue that she departed from the reception prematurely and did not return for the honeymoon send-off. It seems she departed within the month. Regardless of whether they parted ways or remained united, it held no significance for me. This tale was never truly centered on them. It was a tale of us, Sophie and I, and what we transformed into when those meant to safeguard us departed. Following that enchanting evening, an undeniable change swept through our abode. It was serene yet profoundly impactful. Sophie possessed a unique strength, setting her apart. She strode with grace. She embraced her presence without a hint of regret. One evening, I discovered her rehearsing her speech before the mirror, driven not by vanity, but by a desire for meticulous preparation. She confided in me her thoughts of embarking on a podcasting journey. For the young women who believe their voices remain unheard, she expressed. And what of me? I have embarked on a new endeavor as well. I had always harbored a fear of sharing publicly the events that transpired. There exists a certain sorrow in the experience of being abandoned. People gaze upon you as if you carry an affliction, as though your sorrow serves as a cautionary tale. Yet, following the wedding, a revelation dawned upon me. I was not diminished by my breaking. I found my strength in the art of rebuilding. Thus, I embarked on my journey of writing once more, beginning with mere notes and gradually weaving them into essays. I submitted one to a parenting blog. It has been published. The comments cascaded in like a gentle rain. Women, mothers, daughters, all voices intertwined, expressing a shared sentiment I had yet to encounter. Thank you for expressing what my heart could not voice. What began as a simple blog blossomed into a charming little community group. Several months later, I established a non-profit organization, The Second Thread, a sanctuary for women embarking on a journey of healing from abandonment, divorce, and emotional abuse. We gather in circles, offer guidance, and assist in crafting their narratives, both in words and in essence. I never anticipated it would evolve into what it has become. I simply wished to create a haven for women, where silence is not the sole choice available. Yet, the most profound aspect of it all was not the public farewell. In the stillness of our kitchen, a serene moment unfolded. On a serene night in January, I found myself immersed in the simple act of washing dishes. Sophie perched gracefully at the counter, her notebook open before her, as her legs gently swayed from the stool. She gazed up at me and quite unexpectedly confessed, "You know, I once longed for my real mother to have remained.
Maille en linger in the sink.
Yet now, I truly understand," she remarked. Perhaps she departed, believing that fate had destined me to be with you. I remained silent. I found myself unable to do so. I simply turned, dried my hands, and enveloped her in a hug so close that I felt as though I could breathe her essence in. At times, life unfolds in ways that diverge from the narrative you once envisioned. At times, it rips pages from the narrative, leaving you to ponder the conclusion in uncertainty. Yet there are moments when through the struggles, the fervent love, and the unwavering commitment, one discovers something truly exquisite. One has the opportunity to craft a fresh narrative. And what could be more delightful? There is no need for anyone's approval to embark on your journey. If this tale resonated with you, evoking memories of your own resilience or the unwavering support of a cherished companion during trying times, I invite you to pause for a moment and bestow a like upon this video. Share it with someone who needs to understand that being broken does not equate to being worthless. To turn your back does not signify true strength. To remain and mend is indeed a profound journey. And if you have ever found yourself in the delicate act of reconstructing your essence, if you have ever been the steadfast soul gathering the fragments when another faltered, I invite you to share your thoughts. Share with us the tale of your journey. One can never truly discern who may be captivated by your words and find solace in them. And dear friend, if you seek more heartfelt tales that resonate profoundly, reminding you of our shared journey, do consider subscribing to the channel. Every week, new tales unfold, each one a testament to resilience, truth, and the exquisite chaos of our shared humanity. Thank you for joining me in this delightful experience. And keep in mind, there is no need to seek an invitation into another's enchanting story when you are already crafting your own masterpiece.